little bit late. It's probably only gonna get like 10 views, but whatever. I really wanted to post it. Anyway, today what I've got for you is a review on the entire series of Ms. Marvel. I know it did come out a while ago, and yes, I did rewatch it like 2 weeks ago now. I've been busy. But as much as I've procrastinated making this video just because work and life has been hectic, I just had to finally make it and post it for my own sanity and whatever. And also, I am almost caught up on my videos. You might have seen my video nearly 2 months ago saying that in the months of September and October, I would catch up on all the videos I missed during like July and August. And I'm almost there. I'm a little bit behind on my catching up, but I think I'm gonna make it there by the end of the month. You probably didn't care about that though. Anyway, let's talk about Ms. Marvel. This video might be a little bit all over the place. I kind of just jotted down thoughts as they came to me. I didn't write a full-on script like I did for my first video, just reviewing the first episode. That was a pretty good video. You should check that one out. Anyway, my overall thoughts on the series, I did really like it. I thought it was really good. It was, you know, classic MCU vibe. I think there were two main things. The characters were really likable. I liked the characters a lot, and just the execution of the show was really good. I personally liked a lot of the stylistic editing choices. I liked the plot overall, even if it wasn't like a super fresh take on things, I think. Anyway, let's talk about the characters a little bit. I really enjoyed the characters. I mean, especially Kamala and Bruno. I did talk about this a lot in my first episode because I feel like their relationship really shined in the first 2 episodes, especially that first one, and I just really loved that. But just as singular characters, I liked both of them a lot. I think Kamala is really relatable, especially for MCU fans, and especially for people who like really get into their fandoms. I really loved her representation there. I think Bruno's really relatable personally because I always gravitate towards like the nerdy side characters, so I really liked them. I was kind of sad that later on in the show we saw less of Bruno because, you know, Kamala went to Pakistan and I don't know, his character took a back seat for a little bit, but then he was back, still great. I also really like Kamala's character design. We didn't see it until the last episode, but I really like her Ms. Marvel costume. It looked really good. Kamran was also an interesting character. Sadly, Bruno took a little bit of a backseat to him later on, but he was interesting as well. Like, it was cool to see his like internal struggle, and that became a really important part of that last episode. Like seeing that conflict when he was still feeling loyal to his mother and upset that she died and Kamala didn't tell him and ends up fighting her, and then it just complicates this whole end scene where they're trying to not get attacked by the Department of Damage Control, and he's able to safely get out of there in the end. But it adds a really human aspect of it, I think, which is interesting because he's not actually human all the way. I mean, half human, half clandestine? Presumably? We don't know who his father is, do we? Anyway, I think that's a nice touch. There were just some really relatable and human characteristics to all of the characters in this show, and needless to say, I liked that. I'm interested to see where they go with his character, because obviously he has powers now, but he's just in hiding, I guess. I mentioned this, something else you can check out is my TikTok reviews of each episode, just like a reaction to different portions. But yeah, you can check that out in the cards. I posted a compilation of all 6 of those videos here on YouTube. But anyway, I mentioned in those that at the beginning of the last episode, I was like, dang, he's either gonna turn evil or he's gonna die, or both, because I don't see coming out of this show having another superpowered person, but here we have it. There he is. So I don't know how I feel about him having powers. Just in general, I mean, obviously it was instrumental to the plot of that last episode, but it's interesting. I'm just curious, I guess, to know what's gonna happen with his character moving forward. I guess we are getting to the point in the MCU where just like every other person has superpowers, and that's just how it is. You know, we got that vibe in She-Hulk too, with like people like Titania and whatnot. Well, and a lot more. I mean, the leapfrog guy and the Mr. Immortal, and there's all of them. So I That might be the future of the MCU, is just like everyone having superpowers. Feels like the Flash. More characters. I also really liked Aisha. We didn't see much of her, but from what we saw in that, fifth episode? I did enjoy her character, and just the relationship between Kamala's great-grandparents was pretty great. I think throughout the series, I grew to like Kamala's family, especially her mom, more and more. I really can't think of any of the characters that are, like, good characters that I didn't like. Nakia was pretty cool. I mean, of course, I hated Deaver. She was the worst, but you're supposed to. Didn't like Kamran's mom or the other clandestines, but you're not supposed to. But pretty much everyone else, like, I really liked a lot of the characters in there. Also, I really liked seeing another culture represented in the MCU. Now, I'm not gonna pretend I know much about, like, Pakistani or Pakistani-American culture. So it was cool to see that. I also enjoyed some of the themes in the show. Like, of course, the story was a lot about Kamala finding herself both, like, individually and as a superhero and, like, in the scope of her family. Like, one of my favorite quotes from the show is when the Sheikh told Kamala that good is not a thing that you are, but a thing that you do. That was really impactful. I also really like the family dynamic and the themes surrounding her family. That didn't go the direction I was expecting it after the first episode. I thought there was gonna be this rift and it was gonna take the whole show for them to come back together. But, like, even though there was a little bit of shaky ground there after, you know, she snuck out to go to the Avenger Con and stuff, like, there was still definitely, like, a mutual respect and appreciation between her and her family. And by the end, it was cool how her mom fully supported her in her superhero role, and how her brother helped in the whole distraction thing that happened in the school the last episode. So it was fun to see the family involved, because I feel like that goes against a lot of tropes where it's all about keeping it a secret even from your family or whatever. I also always like to bring up the action in MCU is always good. This one in particular, like the third and sixth episodes, especially the sixth episode, really enjoyable. I mean, some fighting, but a lot, it's just like running around and going crazy with the distractions for the Department of Damage Control. But yeah, some of the episodes didn't have it as much, but some of the episodes did have a lot of really good, enjoyable action, so I liked those parts as well. It was also fun to see Captain Marvel at the end in that, I think it was a credit scene, the last episode. That gets me excited for the Marvels and really intrigued to see what happened there, because, like, she literally turned into Captain Marvel. Like, did they switch places? Or... yeah, I'm interested in that. I honestly didn't even think about it. Like, I didn't know that Brie Larson was going to be in the credit scene at all, in the show at all. And for some reason I didn't expect it, because I know during WandaVision there was talk about, oh, Doctor Strange was going to be in a credit scene or the very end portion, but then they decided against it because they wanted it to be Wanda's show and they didn't want to undercut her with some big cameo or whatnot. So I kind of expected the same approach on this one as well, and then it was a happy surprise at the end just to tie it into the next part of Kamala's story in the Marvels. And I am excited for that film. It's still a while before it's gonna come out, so not super hyped yet, but that is a good lead into it, I think. And then a couple things that I don't know how to feel about. One of them, the time travel. Was it time travel that happened for her to go back in time and help her grandma find her great-grandpa on the train? Like, technically, that's considered time travel, right? So now there's, like, another example of time travel in the MCU. Time travel always just murkies the waters. I expected that to just be, like, a flashback or a vision or something, and then it's like, yeah, she's legitimately in the past, and so I don't know what to think about that. Although I feel like the deeper we get into the MCU, and I feel like this is the case with She-Hulk too, not gonna give spoilers, but if you've seen it, you know, can muddy the waters like that, so it's just expected. But yeah, I'm just always hesitant about time travel. Like, when Endgame was not quite out yet, I was still leading up to it sure they weren't gonna go the time travel route, because time travel just makes everything messy, and so I don't know how I feel about having some form of time travel in just like a really small, seemingly insignificant way here, where it could actually cause lots of significance in, like, how was that even possible? what effects does it have? Is it like the Harry Potter 3 time travel, where because it happened, it always happened, and that's how it will happen, and nothing ever changes? Because that conflicts with how time travel is established in Endgame, but it is not using the same method. So anyway, I could ramble on about that forever, but the whole point is I just don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if it was my favorite thing that they introduced another version of time travel in the show. The other thing I don't know how I feel about it is the X-Men music. They're apparently making Kamala a mutant instead of an inhuman, I guess. Now, I'm not gonna pretend to know hardly anything about the comics. I haven't read a single Marvel comic. And so this is definitely characterized as like a I don't know how to feel about it type of thing, rather than a oh, I'm so upset they're changing things from what was canon in the comics and making it different in the movie adaptations, because that's valid. But I'm just curious where they're gonna take that, like how significantly it's gonna change her character and how it's gonna introduce the X-Men to the MCU. I don't know, I'm interested to see. I think we need a little bit more data and to see a bit more of it before we actually decide if it's a good or bad thing that they decided to make her a mutant instead of an inhuman. Anyway, wow, rambly thoughts. That's pretty much all of them. The last thing I want to do is, in my review on the first episode, I did share some of my predictions for the entirety of the show, because of course I had to, and I'm gonna just take a second to react to them. Good thing there were only 3, so it's not gonna take too long. The first one is that I guess that the Department of Damage Control would be the primary antagonist, and honestly, I don't know if that's yes or no. I feel like for the first half of the show, the primary antagonist was Kamran's mom. Then, once she died and sacrificed herself, actually, then it became Deaver, which it wasn't the Department of Damage Control as a whole, but it kind of counts as the same thing. So I'm gonna say yes on that one. I got that one right, which is good because I got the other 2 wrong. 2, I predicted that her Nani would have the same powers as her because she's who had the bangle before, and that was not true, because what's explained in the last episode is that it wasn't just using the bangle and having both clandestine and human blood that made her able to access the powers using the bangle, but also that she had a mutation. So that was definitely off. Yeah. And then the third prediction I made was that it would take the whole season for her to reconcile with her parents, which isn't what happened. I mean, there was still a little bit of a rift in the middle, but like I said earlier, it wasn't a completely broken relationship, and even then it was like the middle of the series where her and her mom kind of gained more of a mutual understanding of each other and reconciled. So that was also wrong. So I kind of got 1 point out of the 3. But anyway, that wraps it up for all of the notes I had to talk about. So let's wrap up this video. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of Ms. Marvel, the entire show as a whole. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe, which you can do by clicking over there. Check out more of my videos. Up top was my review of just the first episode of Ms. Marvel, and underneath that is a playlist of all my MCU videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!